Carl and Damon here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial.com for short. And it's tier ranking time as we are going to have a look at the Resident Evil franchise. 28 games in total, from the main storyline to spin-off games. I worked out, I'm pretty sure I alone have played 20 of these 28 games. Now, there are going to be some neither of us has played. Yep. We do have a category for that. It's simply never played. But we're going to be putting them into the best, very good, okay, the worst, and never played. Immediately your head goes, well, you know what's going in the best.
Yeah.
I'm going to argue the toss over one game. That doesn't belong in the best. And we'll get to why. The worst, I also feel, is kind of easy to do depending upon what you've played. There's a couple later on in that, like on the Xbox 360 and stuff like that I played that were terrible, terrible games. We are going to have a go. We are going to try and rank them all, being that we know the franchise pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Particularly the main game storyline. So from Resident Evil 1 through to Resident Evil Village, I haven't missed a game. I've played them all. So like that's the easy part. Where things get complicated is there are a lot of Resident Evil games released on a Wii.
Oh, well, got them.
And there you go. Just never played a Wii. Never had a Wii, you know?
Neither.
They are in random order. We're not doing them in order of the release. We're just choosing them at random as they were uploaded to this tier list. So we begin with the GameCube exclusive game, which was exclusive once upon a time, but is now since been re-released on all modern consoles with a HD update. It is Resident Evil 0, the prequel to Resident Evil, a game that created plot holes for the original fucking franchise, introduced a horrible character, and had a very flawed inventory system that was designed to shake up the whole item box thing, but instead created a whole headache of management, inventory management. However, it's very traditional Resident Evil. It's one of the more difficult ones, but has some of the more interesting areas. Has a unique story and a nice tie into the original game.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Resident Evil 0?
It's Resident Evil 4, so it's bound to be a good game. So I enjoyed it.
Yep.
Like you said, character-wise, I can't remember his name though.
Billy Cohen.
Billy the convict or prisoner when he's like.
Well, the convict who's actually a good guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, not really your typical Resident Evil main character, really. I suppose. I mean, I think it's Rebecca Chambers, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
So I quite like the fact that you got to see a bit of her story, because obviously you. I mean, if you only played the first Resident Evil, you only really saw her by name, really, a mention of it. But
it creates such a plot hole in the original where it's like, oh, and the worst thing is they try and make out in the end of Resident Evil 0 that the whole reason why she never really mentioned the event that she went through is because she's trying to protect Billy.
Yep.
You can still mention what you went through without bringing Billy into it.
Yeah, because they make out she's a rookie.
Yes.
Which clearly she's not.
Well, she's a blithering idiot when you meet her in the original Resident Evil.
I know you're gonna know what I'm
No, don't do it, man. Don't, no. He's about to fucking reference S.D. Perry's books. They're non-canon nonsense.
I know, but if you read Cabin Cove, it's a pretty decent book about Rebecca Chambers.
But no, don't read Cabin Cove.
Cabin Cove,
yeah. It's a very flawed game with some really, really top moments. To be honest, the best part of the game is the first quarter on the train. That's quite unique and quite interesting. I always really, really like doing that part. Beyond that, Leech Hunter, the bonus game, is a lot of fun. That's about it, really. Like, even the end boss is uninspired. I think this one sits in okay. Slap bang in the middle, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, as we are all over the place, it's going to be Resident Evil 2. So this is Resident Evil 2, the sequel to the original Resident Evil, released on PlayStation 1 back in, 98 or 99. One of the most anticipated sequels probably ever at the time. I remember picking up magazines and seeing screenshots for it and being like, oh my god, it's in the city, it's going to be so fucking exciting. And then you got your hands in it, and it was incredible. It still holds up today, the original game does, for all its flaws. It is a very easy game. It doesn't feel as survival horror as the original does, but it does take what the original did and makes it bigger, better, and more interesting. You have the two routes for both characters, A and B, plus the unlockable shit.
Yep.
This Resident Evil 2, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's arguably one of the best games ever created. Really,
Yep.
It's got to be, and the fact that it came out at what 98, you said.
I think 98, yeah.
It's around there. The fact that even now you go and try and buy this game on eBay, it's still 50, 60 quid to buy. That just shows you the value of this game.
Yep. This is the best, isn't it?
Easy,
yeah,
easy.
this was always going to be. I can't see any reason to not do that. Right, this next one we're gonna sister them up, and I don't, unless you've played it recently. I don't know if you've played this. This is Resident Evil 2 Remake. Have you played this?
I played it.
Oh, you played it now.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So this was this is more than just your standard reimagining, remastering, or anything. This is rebuilding the game from the ground up. Changing a lot of things about it, but keeping a lot of the things the same. It's gorgeous to look at. It's downright brilliantly playable. It's fun. It's interesting. It feels like Resident Evil 2, but feels like Resident Evil 2 now.
Yep.
I love it. I was so impressed.
Yeah, I mean, it's Resident Evil 2 with amazing graphics.
Yeah.
And obviously with the change, it's got changes, and it's just, I mean, they've done a great job of it. I mean, for me, it goes in the best also, but I would still put it behind the PS1 version because that's the one that started it.
Well, yeah, this is a remake of that.
Exactly, so it started it all.
Yeah, I agree. It goes in the best, but after it. Okay. Sticking to those original PlayStation 1 games before we do the sister one, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. So this was a bit of a rush job game. Came out quite soon. I think it came out in 1999. Came out quite soon after Resident Evil 2. Basically using the same engine, using the same locations, but put you back in the shoes of Jill and sent the Nemesis after you, which was a really surprising aspect at the time. Was really, really interesting. Here's the thing about Resident Evil 3. Whereas I think I could walk you through Resident Evil 2 in my head right now and tell you exactly where you need to go and what keys to do and what that. Resident Evil 3 I can't. And I played it enough times and I started to realise it's because the environment, the location, the story doesn't grip me in the same way.
Yeah.
But it's still a very good Resident Evil game.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely in my top 5 of games I like of Resident Evil. Yeah, because I mean,
wow.
I like the characters. Character-wise, they're brilliant. I mean, story-wise, as you said, it's not that gripping, and you really based a lot around just like I mean, in my head now, I'm getting a picture of like burning buses and running around buses constantly, and like a gas station. That's all I can picture in my head.
Right, it's not much, is it?
No, it's not. But I know that being chased by
Nemesis.
the Nemesis was always freaky. You know?
It was.
Always reminded me of obviously being chased by Hunk. Is it Hunk? Is it Hunk?
No, Mr. X.
Sorry, Mr. X.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. X. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, always reminded me a bit of that.
Yep.
But yeah,
But deadlier.
Deadlier. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is the thing that makes it stand out. This isn't the best for me.
No.
To me, it's very good.
Yes.
Yeah? Which brings us to the next one. The reason why I want to put very good is I want to reverse roles here. I'm going to tell you right now, I want to put this Resident Evil 3 remake above Resident Evil 3 and very good because I think it's an improvement over the original.
Yeah.
But it's not as good as the remake of Resident Evil 2 or the original Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
This is, again, similar to Resident Evil 2, except similar, again, almost like Resident Evil 3. It's using the same engine they used for Resident Evil 2 Remake. Set in the same location. But here they made the story a little bit more interesting. They made Nemesis just as deadly, but a lot more fascinating. I mean, have you played Resident Evil 3 Remake?
I have, yeah.
Okay, so like, although it's a bit of a shit-end boss battle, it feels suitably epic. That fight with him and jamming that gun into his mouth.
Yeah.
Like, that shit was cool, man.
I mean, from the reason why I think the remake's better is because the difference between the remake and number 2 is that it was mainly inside buildings and stuff like that. But number 3, you're mainly based outside.
You are, actually,
and
yeah.
a lot of the environment outside, it was all on a PS1 version. It was all blocks and stuff like that. It was horrible.
Yep.
But in this one here, you can see all the environment.
Yep.
Which for me makes it better. It's definitely improved the game.
I agree. So for me, like, this is top. This is very good, but above the original.
Above the original.
Yeah. It's all good stuff at the moment. It's all fine stuff at the moment. So that brings us to then Resident Evil 4. Now, Resident Evil 4 came as a shock to the system for everyone following what we had previously in the Resident Evil franchise. It was a complete change-up of style, gunplay, camera work. It was so popular and so successful that they would copy and ape this for the next couple of games to middling results. But Resident Evil 4, putting your shoes Leon, changing location, changing the disease and how it works, and going to more origin story, while also having let's be honest, some quite strong fantasy elements.
Yeah,
you know, the village, the castle, the characters and stuff like that. It sounds like it should be a bad game. It's not. It is arguably one of the best Resident Evil games made that had everything. It had suspense, it had action, it had scares. The part where you're barricaded inside the places and trying to defend yourself against overwhelming force of villagers and things like that, that shit was terrifying. It's survival horror done in a different way. It has some cool-ass boss battles. It ties into the Resident Evil lore really, really nicely.
Yep.
Can it be knocked down because of Ashley?
Yes.
I don't think she's that bad enough to knock the game down.
For me, that's that's my only negative really about the game. Really, I mean,
you know what to do, right? Complete it on hard and unlock the armor suit so they can't carry away.
Yeah, and I mean, overall, yeah, this is easily one of the best Resident Evil. You know?
Agreed.
And besides, I like Leon as a character.
Yep.
He was always one of my favourite out of the entire franchise.
Fair.
You know?
So where do we put it? It's in the best.
It's in the best, but I still don't think. For me, Resident Evil 2 was the one that which started the success of the franchise. So for me, I would put it in between the remake and that.
Yep, I agree. It's that. Yeah, I just can't. I can't knock Resident Evil 2 off that top spot. Well, you know, the original might. We'll get to that. Continuing with the series timeline, it's Resident Evil 5, a game I wanted to love, but at best I could say I liked. I was happy enough to step into the shoes of Chris again. And I didn't mind Sheva as a character. We'll get to a reason to hate Sheva afterwards. I was really interested by the location change, switching it to Africa, continuing the protogenic virus story, and reintroducing people like Wesker. The problem is Resident Evil 5 is stupid. Horror's gone. There's next to no horror in this game, and I always remember the early portion of the game where you're riding in the back of a truck, using a machine gun, shooting and blowing up other motorbikes and stuff like that as an example of what the fuck is going on. Wesker comes in, it all gets even sillier. You have Jill who's possessed, you do a fight with her. We all know how it ends as well. The volcano fucking punching boulders. That shit is a really hard to stomach. But that doesn't make it a bad game. It's still infinitely playable. The formula that was started in Resident Evil 4 hadn't got boring yet. But Sheva, man, again, like Billy Cohen, she's a character that's not come back into the main series again, because it's not even that she's a bad character. She's bland. But the programming, the AI made her thick as shit.
Yep.
Yeah, tough to like because of that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed the game. It's got good aspects, it's got bad aspects.
Yes.
I mean, I might be wrong here, but was this the first multiplayer Resident Evil?
I think it might have been, right?
Yeah, so it introduced multiplayer, which
co-op.
I quite like the co-op. You know?
Co-op, yes, not the actual multiplayer.
Yeah,
the multiplayer was wank.
The online was stupid. It was ridiculous. But I mean, being able to control two different people and was pretty cool. You know, I enjoyed that. Obviously, if you're playing one player, you could always give Sheva all your crap to hold, which is always nice. So if you've got too many herbs, she helps them for you. Yeah, that's always nice. But as you said, there's so many bad things about the game, though. I mean, the end boss was just one of them. It's just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. So where do we put this then?
For me, it goes in okay.
Before or after 0?
I remember more about number 5.
Yep.
Than I do about 0.
I'm happy with that. I'd have put it above 0 as well. I think it's a fair place for it. There we go. Resident Evil 6. So, Resident Evil 6 decided, okay, everyone... Basically, Capcom decided to try and please everybody and ended up pleasing nobody. They created 3 separate stories and based around 3 different styles of gameplay. They went, here's Leon's story and his partner. Fuck, what's her name? I can't remember her name. That's how bad it is.
Exactly.
Then, you'll be the horror aspect. It's like, yeah, it was horror in the fact that it was zombies and stuff, but it wasn't classic Resident Evil horror. Here's Chris and Piers.
Yeah,
Piers.
Yeah.
Their action. And it's like, okay, well, let's just continue Resident Evil 5. Here's Sherry Birkin, all grown up. Here's Jake Mueller, the son of Albert Wesker. Their one is going to be stealth/action. They're all crap. I don't think anybody can really defend this game. This was Capcom taking the formula from Resident Evil 4 and 5 and going, well, we'll just do that again. And it didn't work. It didn't work. None of the stories satisfied. The overall picture of the games were unimpressive. The new characters were all forgettable as fuck. And in the case of Jake, unlikable as fuck.
Yeah, I think when they made this game, they thought, oh, here's a quick buck. But they messed up royally, and they're quite lucky. They could have seriously damaged the franchise.
Well, it did. To be fair, they did. It did. But it did force them to have to restart it effectively. Yeah. For me, this one is the worst.
The worst, yeah.
Because I can't think of... I'm trying to think of any redeeming quality. Think about how dumb it is when, like, the helicopter crashing into traffic, and it's like how it starts feeling like a fucking movie, and all you're doing is doing QTEs. Oh man. I'm trying to think of, is there any point that I enjoyed of it? Oh, isn't there a level where you have to be out in the snow and you're sniping?
Yeah.
Fuck, there's nothing good about this game.
No. I mean, when you first hear
the story, the DLC. No.
I mean, when you first hear about it, 3 different stories, all the characters, you think, oh, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, like, here we go.
But when you play it, it's such a major disappointment.
Agreed. The worst. After that failure, or that mess, Capcom would go back to the drawing board and reinvigorate the genre with Resident Evil 7. Have you played this yet?
If this is, I think I played it briefly with was that one?
No, that was Village. We'll come to Village afterwards.
It's on the Game Pass.
Yep.
And I haven't played it yet.
So Resident Evil 7, I could talk about this one then. Resident Evil 7 is the Resident Evil first person. A return to horror, a seemingly unconnected story to Resident Evil until it does connect heavily in the latter portion of the games. This was such a return to form. This is brilliant. This is a best Resident Evil game. It is both horrifying, it's scary, it's clever, it's got brilliant puzzles, it's got new gameplay mechanics that just really fucking work. I loved it. I loved every second of it to the point where I played it to death and done all the DLCs and all the stuff that comes with it. Resident Evil 7 is a masterpiece. Who's the
cast, the characters in it?
So, well, I mean, this is the introduction of Ethan. Ethan is brand new and stuff like... I mean, I don't want to do too many spoilers, but yeah, you'll get to the end and other Resident Evil characters, famous Resident Evil characters, might show up. But until that point, it's Ethan Winters and the Baker family, Mia, Ethan's wife, a whole set of new characters, basically. But as I already said, there is an ending and DLC that links it into Resident Evil. Mm-hmm. To me, this is the best. Now, obviously, I've got to put this in. You don't really get a say in it. I really want to put this high. Right, considering how important Resident Evil 2 is, it stays. Resident Evil 4 did the same thing as 7, which is that after 1, 2, and 3, it reinvigorated the franchise by doing something new. Mm-hmm. So I think that stays where it does. I think 7 goes after 4. Because again, it's a similar thing in that it reinvigorated the franchise when it was in trouble. But there is one we've missed in between all those games. Back with the original stuff, the 3 and 4. And it is the original Dreamcast exclusive, Code Veronica. Now, I didn't actually play this until many, many years later on the Xbox 360 when it was re-released as Code Veronica X, which was the PlayStation 2 version. And I finally went back to play this to see what everyone was talking about. And I fucking loved it. I was so annoyed that I'd missed it when I was younger. Came out during a period when I wasn't really playing games. But I absolutely loved it. It scared me. It enlightened me. It thrilled me. I loved it. It was a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, definitely. This is one of my favourites. So, I mean,
it is.
Story-wise, it's fantastic.
Here's a top 5 one for me, Code Veronica.
Story-wise, character-wise, the whole about the brother and sister, or it's just brilliant,
Yeah. Problems, though. The formula, the Resident Evil formula, was still a bit tired here. And I know Code Veronica does things differently with the camera, so that is enjoyable. However, it is still very much like the original Resident Evil stuff. Steve is not a good character. I do like the emotion that comes with his end, but he is not a good character, simply put. And it's all Claire / Chris, a little bit of Wesker and stuff like that. The boss battles. in particular Nosferatu on that roof. You're taking the fucking piss, guys. He can knock you off.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Stuff like that always sticks in my mind. Is like, you know.
Yeah.
But I love it. To me, is it the best or very good?
Very good. It's great, but it doesn't compare to the best for me.
Do you not think maybe the end of the best after Resident Evil 2 Remake?
I mean, that's in my top 5. If my top 5 games though.
There we go then. At the end. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, right. Up next, we're going to the Game Boy Color for a game called Resident Evil Gaiden. I briefly have played this. I played this on an emulator a couple of years back. It's a top-down Game Boy Color Resident Evil thing that I think was set on a boat, because I vaguely remember being Chris or something and going inside a deck and there being zombies and stuff like that. And when the zombies attacked you, they'd come, the screen would switch to them being in front of you and you'd have to shoot them that way. That's about all I could say. I've got to put this in Never Played. That limited information isn't enough to go on.
Yeah, I mean, Game Boy Resident Evil, no idea.
Yeah. You'd be fucking amazed. Let's put it Never Played because I don't remember enough about it. Okay then. Xbox 360 for a contender for the worst. It is Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. Do you remember this?
Never played it, no.
So this is the one where you're teams of heroes / teams of bad guys. 2 different stories where you play as them and you go in Raccoon City and you're interfering or involved in the main stories there or dealing with zombies. Famously, Capcom tried to rip everybody off by this by making half the game DLC. Only giving you the bad guy story and then basically asking you to pay more for the good guys. It was fucking horrendous. But guess what? The game is fucking terrible. Terrible. Boring characters. No fucking story. Awful combat. It's so fucking weak. I hated it. Hated it. It's one of those where it's on my gamer card and I'm like, ugh. But you've never played it.
Never even heard of it.
So then it's up to me, and I am putting it after Resident Evil 6. That's how bad it is.
Yep.
Okay, let me find this one. Right, Resident Evil Outbreak, PlayStation 2.
Again, not played it.
Never played it. I don't even know anything about it. I know there's a couple like this that are like first-person shooters or games that do stories, alternative stories of the stuff we saw in the original series, but I don't know if I'm about it, really.
No.
Outbreak 2. Resident Evil Outbreak File 2, as it is called. Where is that one? There it is. I've never played it. Have you?
No, never played it.
Didn't think so.
Recognise the pictures because I've seen it in the shop, but I've never played it.
Okay. We did other remakes. So, no. Let's not do the remake yet. Let's go for the original. Where is it? There it is. Resident Evil. The very first game. Obviously, it's iconic for jump-starting the survival horror franchise. It's a classic. It's a classic for all its flaws, you know, from its casted characters to its terrible voice acting to its shoddy visuals to its iffy moments and here and there. Oh, it's got a lot wrong with it, but it's stuff that's charming now. Because even back in 95, 96 when it was released, it just felt like a fucking instant classic. I'd never played anything like it. It was phenomenal. However, I don't think it holds up.
Yeah, well, what did originally?
The PlayStation 1 original Sega Saturn 1. I think for all its classic nature, I don't think it belongs in the best.
Yeah,
I know this is the one I said at the start that I thought would be debatable.
Yeah.
Because of course of course Resident Evil belongs in the best. Of course it does. Of course it does. It's a classic game and all that. And I'm like, no, it is.
Well, I mean,
but it doesn't, like, think about it. And I know you know it really, really well. But, like, how many bad things are in that game?
There's loads. Just bloody loads.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they always say, like, it's very rare that a sequel is going to be better than the original.
Oh, it surpasses it in every way.
Yeah, with films and movies and it's games and full stop. But obviously, Resident Evil 2 it completely destroys the original. But obviously, it's the game which started the franchise.
Of course, which is very important.
Of course, but I mean, playing it now, it would be. I mean, it's comical. Literally, I mean, just play it for the laughs.
You like it because of nostalgia as much as anything else.
Of course.
Here's the thing. I'm not saying it deserves to go low. I'm saying it goes on very good, top of very good.
Yeah, top. Yeah.
Yeah. The reason, and there's a major reason as to why I feel it doesn't go in the best, and we're about to get to it, because it's the next one. The Resident Evil Remake. So the GameCube version that was made and came out, plus the version that was then, excuse me, re-released on modern consoles. This is the best.
Yep.
This is what Resident Evil wanted to be. This is what it needed to be. This is a grounds up, similar to Resident Evil 2 Remake and Resident Evil 3, but way before any of that, where they redesigned it from the ground up and made it, took what they had and just made it better in every way.
Yep.
I've got no complaints about this. They included new stuff, new areas, Lisa Trevor, new enemy types. I think this is the best.
Yep, definitely.
Where do we put it? This is hard.
I would say just in front of Code Veronica, behind the remake of number 2.
Oh.
No?
No, it's not a bad place for it. I was just kind of like, should it go ahead of the Resident Evil 2 remake or after? Because it's the first of the remakes. Let's put it above it. It's the first of the remakes, right? And it was done in like 2001 or 2002. So like really fucking old already.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That best is looking quite nice. Okay, what we got now? All right, this is the online multiplayer game that came alongside Resident Evil Village for free. Resident Evil Resistance. I've not played it.
Nope, neither do you.
There we go then. I've lost it. No, there it is. So no, we haven't played. Okay. Resident Evil Revelations. Have you played this?
Nope.
Right. I have played this, and it is a very flawed game. I've played this game so much, in fact, I put about I've done the requirement of that co-op stuff that takes fucking ages. I've done that. This is the one that takes place on the boat with Jill Valentine, and is very linear, very, very straightforward pathwise in a very, very big ship, and deals with an outbreak on the ship, and introduces things like TerraSaver, whatever that company is, and things like that. There is a lot to enjoy about this game. There is some flaw. There's a lot of flaws of it, combat and all that. But what they did was they created this new sort of virus idea where it transformed to sea life and turned like people into sort of half sea creatures. You're laughing.
That sounds fucking stupid.
It's not. It's pretty cool.
It sounds really stupid, man.
I really like this one. I really like this game. I want to put it in very good, but at the end of very good.
I just had an image of Red Dwarf when Kat sees the fish and goes, it's Miranda, my girlfriend. She's like half mermaid, half fish. Okay. Resident Evil Revelations 2. Again, I'm not.
This is the sequel, and this one is the 2-part story that combines Claire and Barry.
Barry, really?
Yeah, you actually get to play as Barry. Resident Evil Revelations 2 was released in chapters. That was a weird decision. They released it in chapters over, like, I think, one every 2 weeks or something like that. And even did like an episode where it then like to be continued and stuff like that. Yeah, whereas Resident Evil Revelations captured my imagination, Revelations 2 didn't. I don't remember as much about this. And that's a real shame because I've definitely played it through to the end because I remember the boss.
He's got to be quite old, Barry, man. Considering that, bloody from the first one, he was like, must have been in his 60s.
Without spoilers, his daughter is in this game.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yes. So for me, this is okay. But I want to put it at the end of okay. After 0. Okay. This might be debatable. Resident Evil Survivor, the PlayStation first-person shooter game.
Yeah.
That basically used the models from Resident Evil 2 and went, oh, well, people will just enjoy it because it's Resident Evil and it's a shooting game. It's fucking horrendous. It is. I have a soft spot for it because I played it a lot as a youngster.
Yeah.
But going back and replaying it for the YouTube channel recently and doing the route, I hated almost every minute of it. Not only is it absurdly easy, because you've got infinite handgun bullets, but it's just no fun. It's confusing to navigate. It's hard to move around. Fights with creatures isn't fun. The end boss is stupidly hard. I hate this. I think this is the worst.
It's hard because, I mean,
I knew we'd do this.
Definitely a terrible game. 100% terrible game. But we've put on so many hours into this game. A lot of hours. But, I mean, I do agree it goes in the worst. Because it's one of those games which is just absolutely terrible.
So you say we put a lot of hours into it, but I don't think we did. Because there are 3 routes through the game. Just 3. A, B and C. and each one, no, there's a 4, there might be 4, and each one takes about an hour and a half to do.
I don't know why, but I don't,
It feels like you did,
yeah,
because it was such a terrible game. It dragged in your mind.
Yeah, my bad, yeah.
Alright, is it worse than Resident Evil 6? Yes.
It's got to be,
Yeah,
it's
it
got to be,
is.
yeah.
It goes in between. Raccoon City, Operation Raccoon City is worse in my opinion. I'd rather play Survivor than I would Raccoon City. That's how terrible that game is. Resident Evil Survivor 2, Code Veronica. Never played it.
Nope.
Kind of wish I had with a name like that, right?
Well, I presume it would be around the same sort of basics, really.
I presume it would be the same, but maybe from a Code Veronica side of things.
Yeah.
Okay, unfortunately, the last few I don't really think we played, so I might just have to fly through these. Resident Evil The Dark Side Chronicles.
Nope.
That is a Wii game. Okay, here's one we haven't played. I know we haven't played, but we are going to talk about it because we have played it in a way. Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D. It's a standalone game that was released on the 3DS. However, it is the Mercenaries mini game.
Okay.
Now, remember the Mercenaries?
Yep.
Basically, the arena combat one kind of thing like that. So I feel like we can talk about this. Well, I don't think it's necessarily fair to rank this game.
Yeah.
Because we haven't played it and it's probably got a little bit more depth than the Mercenaries do. Let's just imagine it's the Mercenaries.
Okay.
Well, always quite enjoyable, wasn't it? Yeah, like a nice little change up of what was going on. I think the Mercenaries was okay.
Yes, yeah.
All right, bottom of okay, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, what else? We got a few more. Resident Evil: The Umbrella Chronicles.
Never heard.
Never played it. We'll come to that one at the end. Umbrella Corps. That's a recent game that I believe was released on Steam. People said it was shit. I've never played it.
Yeah, not me either.
I've missed a few. I've got to find them now. Resident Evil Dead Aim. And Resident Evil Deadly Silence.
Nope.
So there's one left that we've definitely played. So that makes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 28 not played. Not too bad, really. And looking at the ones we've never played, I don't think we're missing out on that much.
From like bloody the Game Boy and the Wii and that sort of stuff, you know.
Last but not least, then, it's the most modern Resident Evil currently. It's Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil Village. This continues the Ethan Winters story, picking up after the events of Resident Evil 7, continuing them, making Chris a more prominent feature and tying more heavily into the Resident Evil lore, in particularly at the end when you find out details that link this game directly to the original, which is quite a cool little moment. It is super fantastical. Whereas Resident Evil 7 was a little more based in reality, number 8 takes its prompts from Resident Evil 4. Where it's like, okay, we're going to put you in a weird land, you're going to have castles, you're going to have fucking flying creatures, you're going to have werewolves, lycanthropes, so to speak. You're going to have a ton of unusual characters, but you're going to have a lot of fucking fun playing it. Resident Evil Village is a great game. Now, you've only played a small part of it.
Yeah, I only played like the first 10-15 minutes. And I mean, from what I played, graphically it was...
Yeah, lovely looking
it
game.
was like, it reminded me of Resident Evil 4. Completely. I mean, the snowy area.
Yeah,
the
real
village,
vibe of it, yeah.
Yeah, the weird village was like really horror. It got the horror vibe too.
Yeah.
From like the beginning of it. Yeah.
Okay, very good. I don't think it belongs in the best, but I think in very good. I'm trying to decide between, does it go before or after Resident Evil 3 remake? Before. It's bigger, it's more impactful than a remake. That's not bad, actually, that ranking.
Yep.
So our best, I think, is pretty fair. Our best games are Code Veronica X, Resident Evil 2 Remake, the Resident Evil Remake, Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 4, and Resident Evil 2. I know it's really debatable to not have Resident Evil, the original, in that, but I feel like that's such a great... That's the best of Resident Evil there.
Definitely.
It really, really is. And like the games are very good. Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 3 Remake, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, and Resident Evil Revelations. They're in that very good. Exactly as we say.
Yep.
I think that's a good ranking.
Yes, I
Yeah.
Yep.
You got any thoughts on it? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon and help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?